Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Still dark. Saints win. Saints win. The Raiders win. What? I have to check on that in a little while. We've got B for Blantons. This is Blanton's single barrel Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, 93 proof. The S horse, introduced in 1984 from the Blanton's distillery, which is really the Buffalo Trace distillery. It's just Blanton's is like a building on the property. In the middle of the property, we were there, and they said, now let's go into the Blanton's production house. And it's not real big. We went in there, and they had a big barrel where they had the bourbon they had poured it into the big vat, I guess you call it, a vat from the barrel. And then they had a hose sucking it out, and it was bottling, pouring it in each bottle, what I mean. And then they had people sitting at a long table, and they were putting on the labels, taping the labels on, and the neck label, and then putting the little cap. So we were watching that, and I took videos of it. You can see it on my YouTube page. It was interesting. Then I was walking around looking, and the lady said, "You're not supposed to be back here." I said, "Okay." So I came back, but they didn't have a sign saying don't come over here. But they had old bottles on display, kind of like a little museum in there, part of it. It was very good, and it's no charge. You may as well go there if you're in Frankfort, Kentucky, because there is no fee for the tour, the Buffalo Trace tour or the Blanton's part. You can take various tours, and they give you free samples. So, and then earlier in the day, I went to Blanton 1792 distillery, southwest of there in Bardstown, Kentucky, also totally free. So great tour. All right. Well, anyway, enough of that. Blanton's, it's been doing pretty well. Hasn't been overwhelming the competition like you might think, because you say, $60 a bottle, it'll wipe them out. Wipe them out. No chance. Nope. That's not an indication that Blanton's isn't very good. No. It is very good. It is an A+. A+ bourbon. Here's the problem, if you want to call it a problem. A lot of the cheaper ones, the $9.99 bottles, are A- or A. Not 98 out of 100, but maybe 92, 93, even 94. So they got so many good, inexpensive bourbons that the expensive ones don't actually overwhelm it, is what I'm seeing. You get Ancient Age. That's $9.99 a bottle. Ancient Age, aged 3 years, 80 proof. But it's really good. And or you can get McAfee's Old Number 8. Sometimes $8.99. It's at least an A-, at least a 90 out of 100. It's won so many awards. And these are all Sazerac brands. They all come from the same place, Kentucky. But, it could be from Owensboro, Kentucky, Bardstown, Kentucky, Frankfort, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. That's their 4 main Kentucky locations from what I've been able to determine. And here's Steadman Select. This only came out in 2018. You can see it's in an Ancient Age style bottle, trying to look like Jack Daniels. All these companies like Evan Williams, Steadman Select, they're always trying to, and McAfee's, Benchmark, Old Number 8, Benchmark. They trying to mimic Jack Daniels. You know what they're trying to do. But that's Brown Forman and Jack Daniels just say, that's right, they're trying to imitate us. They try to copy the best. All right. So if this was in a normal size bottle, it would be $8.55. $8.55. And it's a glass bottle. It's not plastic. And has a built-in pourer. And it's 86 proof. It's not just old watered down 80 proof. So does this bourbon have negatives? Well, yeah, I didn't score 100. It's not perfect. I heard some people talk about beer reviewing, and they said, I don't ever give hundreds because no beer is perfect. I said, I don't know about that. I think some are. Like, if you were finding flaws, you're just nitpicking, you know, just looking for something. I'm trying to think what other Sazerac bourbons I've had. So you can get some really good stuff from them, and you don't have to pay a really high price. Don't have to pay a really high price. Now, can you get expensive bourbons from them? Well, yeah. Like Blanton's is $60 a bottle. Eagle Rare. Buffalo Trace be about $20 a bottle. Weller, all the different Weller. You're not gonna get that for cheap. Barton $17.92. Not gonna get that for cheap. Now you can get Barton, very old Barton, if you live in Kentucky. VOB, very old Barton, 80 proof, 86 proof, 90 proof. Okay, that's cheap, inexpensive. Pappy Van Winkle, you're really not going to get that cheap. Old Charter, that's kind of mid-range, like Buffalo Trace, kind of inexpensive, a little cheaper than Buffalo Trace. From what I hear, it's very good, and so on and so on. So this is a company that you better have a lot of free time if you're going to look up all their products. Ronnie S. Good morning, Ron. Hey, good morning, Ronnie. Caught Ronnie here. Well, in his area of the country, is about 6:52 a.m. instead of 5:52. We're in Central Time. We in the middle. We in the middle. Appearance. Guess the Blantons is a shade darker, but it's not even a shade darker. It's a half a shade darker, and they're both amber. So I don't think I'm going to have to worry about the appearance. Like if I glance, it's going to throw me off. No. Some of them they will, because some of them are so dark. Then you have to be careful. But some, and then some are so unusually light. When we get to the blended whiskey starting Thursday, another tournament, another blended whiskey tournament, American blended whiskey tournament. You got some that are oddly dark. Like there ain't no way it's going to get that dark in 4 years. Like the Grand Legacy. Of course it's not going to get that dark in 4 years. That's why they add caramel coloring. You say, oh, that's against the law. No. It's against the law for bourbon. But it's not against the law for blended whiskey. So, or Scotch. Well, actually, it is against the law in the United States for Scotch or Canadian blended whiskey to be colored. But then they're imported under the law of the country they come from. If you read the Tax and Trade Bureau website very carefully. So even though it's illegal in the United States for Scotch to be colored, Scotch is imported into the U.S. under the laws of the Kingdom of Scotland, the United Kingdom and Scotland. So their law takes precedence. So the law that the U.S. has is a meaningless law. Okay, so it's like some of these things, they're like a moot. They don't mean anything. If you read the website carefully, it'll show you that it doesn't mean anything. All right. And then some blended whiskeys are so unusually light. They're obviously not colored, like the King Square. It's so light, it's almost like it's clear. It's so pale straw. And it's aged 4 years, a minimum of 4 years, probably no longer, probably not a day over 4. But, and you see, and they have, it's being aged in used barrels. And those used barrels could be, like they were saying, the Scotch, I was reading Scotch barrels could be 100 years old. They just keep reusing them. Well, you know, the char is going to dissipate, just be almost wood, pure wood. So it's just not going to color it that much. Okay, no whiskey for me. Got to get ready for work. I don't understand that. I can understand it. Most laws that are out there are meaningless. Well, I know what you're saying about that, that they don't enforce them and nobody even knows what the law is. Like they call that Byzantine law. Like the Eastern Roman Empire had law books this thick, thousands of, and no one knew what they were. All right, so and we have that in the U.S. tax code. No one knows what it says. Soviet Union, same thing. They would have all kind of hundreds of thousands of laws, but they would just use that against you. They could find you, oh, you violated this law. What is this? I never heard of, oh, well, it's illegal to cut a banana lengthwise on Wednesdays. I never heard of that. You know, so they making, the United States does that to make things illegal that are obviously not a crime. You know, they call it process crimes, which is what they're trying to, Donald Trump's enemies are trying to get him on, you know, remember that? Oh, he violated the law, the law. He violated the law, the law. What law? Well, there's a law, it's a statute. He didn't fill out some paperwork here, and it's very serious. You say, well, how could that be serious? No, it's very, well, you don't want these people to follow the law. That you're supposed to get in line, and if you want to come to the United States, you're supposed to get in line and wait and take your turn. Oh, that law doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Only the laws we care about when we're targeting someone. You know, it's so easy to see through this phoniness with these people. I don't know why people can't see that, or maybe they don't want to see it. Okay. And then Richard Nixon's famous interview statement, if the president does it, it's not against the law. People ridiculed that. But actually, he's right about some of these things because the law gives so many exemptions to the executive, chief executive. If the president does it, it's not against the law. In many cases, that's true. I didn't say it should be true, but it could. They do have exemptions for a chief executive. Okay. Enough of that. But it's very interesting to read these laws and regulations. And the regulation is the law because it's a regulation made in pursuant to the law, which gives the regulatory agency the power to regulate the product. And if you read the Tax and Trade Bureau, it's very clear. It's clear. All right. It's complicated. So you have to really think about it like you're a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, but if you're in law school, you know, it's that kind of approach. This one smells standard. I've let them breathe. It just smells basic. It smells like basic bourbon, which means what? Vanilla, oak, grain, distilled grain. You know what grain smells like? We know what cereal grains smell like. Get a box of cereal that's not real sweet, like Kix or Special K, or like kids say old people cereal, you know. Corn Flakes be a good example. Cornflakes, not Frosted Flakes, cornflakes. And then you pick up a lot of the same carryover. Beer and whiskey have their grain-based products. Many beers are multi-grain. Barley, corn, and rice. Some of the Anheuser-Busch beers, barley, corn, and rice. And a lot of German beers, barley. And they have a purity law, but it's not that pure because you can have barley and wheat. Well, you know, it's like we have exceptions. All right. And people will flip out. You never noticed that? Like, I'm not drinking that beer. It's made with corn. It's supposed to be only barley. Well, barley's a grain, ain't it? Corn's a grain. But they go in, they'll drink the German beer. That's real beer. It's made with wheat and barley. It's all grain, man. It's all grain. If the president does it, it's not against the law. Laughing out loud. That was a great statement. And that's what Richard Nixon said in the interview with David Frost in 1977. He said, but if the president does it, it's not against the law. And some people that aren't partisan so much, you know, taking sides on that hate Nixon train say, well, he's actually correct. And they weren't trying to get Nixon because he broke the law. They were just trying to get Nixon because if you would have asked them and they would have told you what was in their heart, like, why are you really after Nixon? They would have said, because I don't like him. That would have been a real reason. Not the law, just I don't like him. And I'm mad because we lost the election in 1972. Okay. You say, oh, you're just an old Republican taking up for Republicans. That's not even true. I'm a Democrat. And secondly, the Republicans did the same thing against Clinton. That was like 20 years later after Watergate. 24 years later, say we're going to get him. We're going to get him on something, which wasn't hard to do because he was always involved in some bad behavior. So, but it's a political thing. He didn't care because he controlled this. He had enough votes in the Senate. So he said, go ahead, impeach me. I don't care. Can't do anything. It's not going to mean anything. Nixon was worried because he didn't have the votes in the Senate. All he needed was 30, what, 34? Didn't have enough. But he was ill also. He had a lot of health problems. If he would have fought it, he might have been able to get, you know, by a trial, he might have been able to swing 35 votes out of 100. I mean, 35 out of 100. But he just said, oh, hell, I'll give up. All right. Now this one smells more sourdough. Oh. What does that mean? Yeah, you know what it means. Sour mash. The sour mash process. Well, I hope you enjoy your whiskey and the rest of your day, Ron. Cheers. You too, Ronnie. I know you got to go off to work. Some people listen to this while they're driving, like a radio show, because these are mostly like radio shows. These beer reviews and whiskey and wine. It's like a radio show because I don't know about you. I don't sit there and just watch the people. I mean, I'll look at what the beer looks like. Oh, okay, it is dark. And then, and although sometimes video obscures the real, because it's not true. Video is not the same as looking at it at your house. You know, digital video, it's like artificial. It's not real like your real life eyes. But you could just hear what they're saying. Oh, it's bubbly. Look at all this heavy lacing. Then you might look, say, whoa, it is heavy. All right, but it's like a radio show more than a visual. Just listening. And it says right here on the bottle, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey Sour Mash. I love the texture. It's like fine grained sandpaper. It's really nice. They did a great job on this for such an inexpensive product. Distilled, bottled, and barrel aged in Kentucky. American white oak barrels. All right. 43% alcohol. The legendary Steadman Select. Yeah, it's legendary. It's been around a year. All right. Then they got a whole essay on the back here about Ebenezer Hiram Steadman, who you never heard about, neither anybody else. But that's a smart thing that liquor companies do. They find some obscure person that was either involved heavily or tangentially into the whiskey business, and then they use their name. They co-opt their name. Okay, you know what they're doing. They got like 5,000 descendants by now, 150 years later. So nobody's going to be able to sue, go to court, say, you use my great grandfather's name without my permission. It's not going to happen. Listen to that owl. This one is strong in the nose, and this one is milder. Not mild, milder. Okay, so I can tell you already what it is. I already tell you what it is. This is the Blantons, and this is the Steadman Select. They don't smell alike. Question: which one smells better? Well, this is an opinion, of course, but more candy corn here. More candy corn. You say, why you keep saying corn? Because bourbon is mostly corn. It has to be mostly corn. That's the law. There's no exceptions for that. Has to be a majority corn. It can be 100% corn. That doesn't matter. It just has to be at least 51% corn. The other 49% could be anything. Any kind of grain, wheat, barley. It just doesn't matter. This one's more sourdough bagel. I don't know. It depends what you rather smell, right? You rather smell candy corn? You rather smell sourdough bagel? I guess it's a draw. It's a draw. So on appearance, tie. Smell, tie. Not the same. Tie. Now, what about the taste? Now remember, the Steadman Select, $19.95 for the 1,000 6,750 milliliter bottle. That's what it cost me. The Blanton, $60 for the 750 milliliter bottle. That's not what it cost me because Sonya gave it to me. Thank you, Sonya. It was a gift. A gift. 8 times 6. 8 times 7. Okay. 8 times 7. 8 times 6 because you got 50,000. Oh, man. Is the Blanton's going to be 6 times better than the Steadman Select? I find that hard to believe. It hasn't been so far. On none of these taste challenges hasn't been that many times better. Oh, the burn. The burn. It burns. It burns. 93 proof. You could feel it. Whoa. A little too high for me. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'll say too high for me. I didn't say it was too high. Someone misinterpreted that, saying bottle and bond ain't too high proof. I didn't say it was too high. I said it was too high for me. Some people like overproof stuff, like barrel, 114 proof, like old granddad 114. They love it. They say, oh yeah, I tried it at my friend David's house. And I said, oh no, I would never drink this stuff. It's good. The quality is there. There's no detriment in the quality. That it's too strong. I said, I don't see how somebody could drink this. I would just pour water. And then my friend David would say, well, you could put it down over ice and let it melt and have a lot of water in it. I said, well, that defeats the whole purpose for 114 because that's what they do to make it 80 proof. They just water it down. They literally add water to it. They told me that at the distillery. She said, you know how we get it down to 80 proof? I really didn't know. I think the other guy on the tour said, well, they add water? She said, exactly, just faucet water. I mean, it's filtered and purified, but it's just, that's it. So why would you buy 114 proof whiskey and then use water to bring it down to acceptable consumption level when it's already done for you at the factory and it won't cost you an extra $30? See? G and JK said, do you think it's worth buying $60 bottles? I probably end up buying a $320 ones over that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, you see. I haven't seen it yet. I know I talk loud in these videos. I apologize. I'm a loud talker. All right, so I haven't seen it yet. That the $60 bottle really is, you hate to say worth the $60. What do I mean by that? I mean, I haven't seen that the $60 bottle is coming across as being 6 times better than the $10 bottle. Oh, it's better. But I'll say 6 times better. Would anybody say that Ancient Age at $9.99 is as good as Blanton's at $59.99? No, I don't think anybody's going to really say that. I mean, some people might, but 90% of the people you talk to, if they did a blind taste test, going to think that the Blanton's is better. That's makes sense. But then you say, I don't know if is it worth paying $60 when I could get 6 bottles of Ancient Age? That's up to you. It's your money. I don't see it. And I think G and JK with the 3 times 20 has got the better. Oh yeah, you could buy Old Granddad, bottle and bond, or regular. You could buy Jack Daniels. Look at Jim Beam, about $13 a bottle. $13 a bottle. Old Charter, about $17 a bottle. So you could just maybe get more economy out of it. All right, enough's enough. It's so clearly different. This is the Blanton's now. Which is better? Here's the question of the hour. The taste is not really like candy corn. There is candy corn, but the flavor is like heavy char, heavy, rich, charred oak. It's so oaky. It's so rich. It's so woody. That is the profound flavor. You say it's a $60 bottle of whiskey, and does it taste like it? bourbon whiskey. Yes, it does. The taste does match the price point. I'll grant it that. No dispute. Yo, man. If you add water to higher proof at home, it might be slightly a better deal because you're starting with a high ABV and not buying the water they put in it, if that makes sense. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, because so you might get a lot more mileage out of the old Granddad 114. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a good point. You might buy one bottle of old Granddad 114 and then dilute it and get what? 3. It might equal to 380 proofs by drinking it. Yeah. See why I have to have people participate and view and we talk, interact, because they think of things I never thought of. And I think of things they never thought of. It's a social order. Oh, but the Steadman Selector is very good. It's got a lot of char. It's got wood, not as profound. It's got a lot of rich flavor, especially that sourdough bagel, some flowery notes like honeysuckle nectar. It's very good. The Steadman Select, here's the thing about Steadman Select. The payoff is much higher than the layout. You know what I'm saying? The payout. When I paid $19.95 for this huge glass bottle, you say, boy, you drank a lot of it. I ain't drank a lot of it. My friend David insisted that I give him some of it in a 375 so he could sample it in a Maker's Mark. He said, we'll switch back and forth. Like when I get some really good, I'll put it in here and give it to you. Which when I'm about 80, I'll get it because he got the bottle, the 375 Maker's Mark bottle. Where I poured this in there and he's drunk about 20% of it. So one day when it's all gone, like I said, when I'm about 80, he'll fill it with some rich or cheap, doesn't matter. We never spelled that out, bourbon, and send it back to me, and then I'll drink it down. So you say, but that's a nice way of trading. I know but it's not a way that's going to really happen in a practical sense. Because he's got bottles of bourbon at his house from like 25 years ago, he's still sipping on. So, I mean, I know I'm never going to see that 375 again. It's not a trade. It's a trade theoretically. In reality, in practicality, I just gave him the 375 out of that bottle. That's all I did. Okay. But he admitted that it's way better than you would ever imagine at $19.95 for the 1,750 milliliter. You hear what I'm saying? So when I bought it, I thought, ooh, what's this going to be like? It's kind of treacherous. I'm scared. Then I tasted it and I said, bam, that's a home run. That's a home run. That's the best value for bourbon on the planet, perhaps. Best value in the world. I mean, I'm not kidding. I'm not being dramatic or exaggerating. There's only one little problem with Steadman Select. Nobody can get it from what I can tell. I bought it because I can go to Walmart, and Walmart sells alcohol here, like they sell cereal on the shelf. You don't have to tell the lady, oh, over there, grab that for me behind the counter. No. You just go down the aisle. There's the bourbon section. I mean to say the liquor section. You just grab what you want. Now, some of it's locked up because they got people want to steal stuff, like the Hennessy and the Courvoisier and the that kind of stuff is locked up because people be stealing, they be stealing those bottles. But they know which ones people steal, so they lock it up in a cabinet and you got to ask for it. But there's other stuff they're not going to steal. They would, but they watch them. They're not going to take the risk. I ain't stealing no Irish whiskey. I want the Hennessy, so they know that, so they got it locked. All right. Always stealing the worst stuff, says Joseph Keene. Oh, man. Hennessy. What else they got locked up? Crown Royal. Because they be stealing that Crown. VSOP will never be taken, says Joseph Keene. VOSP. You mean VSOP? Yeah, because VSOP, that Hennessy VSOP privilege is really good. The Hennessy VS, I like it a lot, but I mean, that's the base model. But that's the one you always see the people drinking. Like, yeah, I'm with my homies, you know, we at the crib, we drinking we're drinking and they got the Hennessy VS. Making a big deal out of it. I was like, why are you making a big deal out of it? You know, it's just a base model. Why you don't get the Hennessy Black? And you'll ask people, why you don't get the Hennessy Black? Oh, that's going to be harsh. It's going to be strong. Well, you don't know that. You never tried it. Well, what can you do? My local store keeps the Seagram 7 behind the counter, and I asked why, and they said it's one of the most stolen. Not the expensive stuff like I expected to hear. Huh. Yeah, well, it's not behind the, it's not in the cabinet where I live, but, you know, different places got different thievery. But even though we could look down on 7 Crown, Seagram 7, and say, oh, you know, blended whiskey, blah, blah, blah. Still one of the top selling whiskeys in the world, really, in the world. You say, I can't believe that. I mean, it is. And it is really good. I bought another bottle for tournament purposes because it is actually way better than it's supposed to be. Autocorrect, so Joseph King. Remy Martin used to be #1. It did. It did. Used to be. But that was then, and this is now. Now it's all Hennessy. So that's it. It's all about what you want to buy. It's all about what you want to buy. Is the Blanton's better? Well, yeah, it's better because it is better. It is better. It is a better bourbon. Okay. Established. We got that. We got that straight. No problem. Now, is it 6 times better? I almost don't know how to answer that question because it's all about what you want to buy. You know, it's not 6 times better for me. I'm not going to pay 6 times as much. I'm not going to pay 6 times the amount. I'm going to tell you that straight. I won't be shy about it. I'll just tell you, I'm not going to do it. I just get the Steadman Select and drink it because it's pretty good. What would I buy? Jack Daniels or Steadman Select? Easily answered. I would get the Steadman Select because to me it tastes better. And I can get this huge bottle for $19.99 and I gotta pay $22 for a $7.50 at Jack Daniels. I'm not crazy. I know I'm not crazy. I'm not paying that kind of money for Jack Daniels, so I'm buying a name. Now, I'll show up at a party with this. People say, why are you buying that? Be a man. Man up and buy Jack Daniels, a real brand. But my argument would be, yes, inferior to this, so why would I buy it? Now, then people at the party would not drink this. This is the world we live in. They wouldn't even try it because they never heard of it. Would they subject themselves to a blind taste test? Never. Oh, they'll play drinking games, stuff people do at parties. But most of these people will not do a blind taste test. I've dealt with it in my family and friends. They'll make a claim on a brand. They'll make a claim on a brand. I know my Miller Lite. They'll say that. My Miller Lite. How you like what they say? My Miller Lite. I know my Miller Lite. I say, you think so? I tell them, I say, tell you what, I'll do a blind taste test. You don't have to do anything but taste it. I'll administer. I'll get the glasses. I'll buy the beer. I'll facilitate all of it. All you got to do is sit there. You don't have to put a blindfold on your eyes because they got tags on the bottom of the glasses. I'll have them mixed up to such an extent that you'll never know. Plus, you're not going to see me pouring it, so you're not going to know. And then I'll mix it up so I don't know. So it's a double blind study. And then you can tell me if you know your Miller Lite. They're not gonna do it. Because you know what? 9 times out of 10, they ain't gonna know it. And you gotta, if you do 2 beers, you got a 50-50 shot. That's 50-50. 50% chance you're gonna get it wrong. I put Milwaukee's Best Light. Look, Milwaukee's Best Light. Get a whole 30-pack for $16.99. They're gonna pay way more than that for a 24. You know, they're gonna buy a suitcase of Miller Lite. And they say, I know my Miller Lite. Well, let's do a blind taste test, see if you know it. They're not gonna do it because they're gonna get it half the time, they're gonna get it wrong. 50-50 shot. They're not gonna be able to tell. Why are they gonna get it wrong? Because they can't tell them apart. And if you want to be techno, as Larry Holmes said in 1985, if you want to be techno, I think Milwaukee's Best Light is a better beer than Miller Lite. Don't tell anybody. I said don't let them catch me saying that. It's got more hop action. It's got a higher bitterness unit. It's got a better taste. But don't go off of this. We got to keep this with us. Let's keep this with us. Don't go telling people that. It's just going to be between the people in this little video hangout. We're not going to go parade down around. G and JK says Milwaukee's Best Light has been my go-to lately. Busch and Miller are most popular in my area, and I think the Best Light is better. Now you see, we got Busch Light around here. A lot of people can't get Busch Light, but many people can get it. Actually, Busch Light in America outsells Busch. By the way, Busch Light outsells Busch. Been on the market 30 years. Busch Light used to be a draft beer. It's no longer. We used to get Busch Light bottles, but we don't because they weren't selling. People wanted the cans. We still get Busch bottles. They don't really sell that well. People want cans. They can go sip out a highway and fish, drink can. This is what they want to do. Drink out the can. You know how people do. Hell yeah. Little early morning nightcap, says Gonzalez. 420. Okay, so that's it. So can a budget brand theoretically match up to a premium, ultra premium brand? Yeah, not only theoretically, but as we've found out through these tournaments in practice, and actually very often in practice, less so in beer, because when you get these cheap beer brands, boy, you're really in treacherous territory then. Hadn't noticed much difference with wine and with hard liquor, then it really becomes a close, the cheap liquors, generally, not always, as evidenced by Hartley brandy, but the cheap liquors can many times hold their own against the expensive brand, not beat them, hold their own. All right, so get ready. Are you ready, people? Are you ready? Are you ready, people? Get ready for Tuesday morning because we're starting a blended American blended whiskey tournament, and it's going to take a while. And people are shaking their heads, saying, "Not American blended whiskey. I just won't watch for a month." Can't blame you, but I'm going to go there. You say, "Don't go there." I'm going there. I've been there. Hadn't exactly loved being there, but I'm going to still be there. So if you want to join me for that excursion into questionable, jump on in. Do you think you'll ever do tequila videos? I don't know, because I never tried tequila in my life. And I'm so bogged down right now, G and JK. I'm so bogged down. I got so much bourbon, so much scotch, so much Canadian, American, blended whiskey. I can't get above water. I just can't make it. Don't even mention the rum. So I would say, yes, I will do tequila, but the probability is poor for any time within reason. You know what I'm saying? Like you might say, well, what about in 2035? Yeah, you know, like I might get around to it then. All right, thanks for watching this video production. Sorry for the length, but when you start doing these things, they get very interesting. So you just keep dealing with it. To me, interesting to me. You might hate it, but interesting to me. Thanks.